Her name was Maya. She was 34 years old. Last Tuesday, the local police chief and his lead deputy, who also happened to be her estranged stepfather and stepbrother, cornered her at a gas station, threatening her under the pretense that she matched the description of a local suspect. They pressed her against the cold metal of pump number 4. The flashing red and blue lights reflecting in their self-satisfied smiles. What they did not know, and what they would soon discover, was that she was an undercover federal agent who had just spent 2 years dismantling their entire precinct's corrupt financial network. Before we explore the events that followed, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if this story of boundaries and justice resonates with you. Drop your city and local time in the comments. We love knowing where you are listening from. The hierarchy within Maya's family was established long before that rain-slicked evening at the gas station. Her mother had married Arthur, the town's chief of police, when Maya was 12 years old. Arthur was a man who valued 2 things above all else: public appearances and his biological son, Travis. Maya, quiet and observant, was treated less like a daughter and more like an inconvenience. This dynamic was never more visible than during the summer Maya turned 16. It was a humid July afternoon, and the family was gathered on the back patio for a barbecue. Arthur had just handed Travis the keys to a brand new silver sedan, wrapped in a pristine blue bow. Travis, who had failed his driving test twice, cheered loudly. Maya, who had spent the entire summer working double shifts at the local library to save for a used bicycle, watched from the edge of the patio. When she quietly asked Arthur if she might borrow the old family station wagon to get to her evening shift, Arthur did not even look up from the grill. He handed her a $20 bill and told her to call a cab, stating that the town's vehicles were for reliable drivers. Yet, Maya was not entirely without support. There was one rare ally in the family structure: Arthur's father, Grandpa Henry. Henry was a retired state trooper, a man whose spine was as straight as his moral compass. He saw the quiet indignities Maya endured. That same afternoon, Grandpa Henry walked over to where Maya stood by the fence, placed a weathered hand on her shoulder, and handed her the keys to his own vintage truck. He looked at Arthur, then back to Maya, and told her that real authority was earned, not purchased. The pattern of mistreatment continued, accumulating emotional weight through specific, undeniable moments. During the winter of 2014, when Maya was a freshman in college, she earned a highly competitive internship in Washington. She brought the acceptance letter home for Christmas, placing it carefully on the kitchen counter. Arthur moved it aside to make room for a display of Travis's community softball trophies. When Maya's mother finally noticed the letter, Arthur dismissed it, remarking that government work was a dead end for people who could not hack it in the real world. Maya's hands grew cold. She said nothing. She simply folded the letter and put it back in her bag. 3 years later, in the spring of 2017, Maya graduated at the top of her class with a degree in criminal justice. The ceremony was held on a sweltering Saturday morning. Maya sat in the front row, scanning the auditorium for her family. When the ceremony concluded, she stood on the green lawn for 2 hours. Her mother eventually sent a text message stating that Travis had a minor fender bender and Arthur had to go handle the paperwork at the precinct. They never showed up. Maya walked back to her dormitory alone, the heavy linen of her graduation gown clinging to her shoulders. The deepest cut arrived on Thanksgiving of 2021. Maya had returned home for the holiday, bringing a carefully baked pecan pie. The dining room table was set with matching china and polished silver. During dinner, Arthur raised his glass for a toast. He praised Travis for his recent promotion to deputy, a position Travis had secured solely through Arthur's influence. Arthur then looked at Maya, who was wearing a simple gray sweater. and openly joked to the extended family that they should check their wallets before leaving, given that Maya always looked like she was casing the joint. The table laughed. Maya slowly placed her fork down on the porcelain plate. The clinking sound echoed in the sudden quiet of the room. She stood up, gathered her coat, and walked out into the November chill. The definitive break occurred on Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. It was 7:32 p.m., and a light, freezing rain was beginning to fall. Maya had returned to the town, not for a family visit, but on a federal assignment. She pulled her unmarked vehicle into the brightly lit canopy of the corner gas station to refuel. She was standing by the pump, the smell of gasoline heavy in the damp air, when a local precinct cruiser swerved sharply into the lot. The tires screeched against the wet pavement. The vehicle angled aggressively, pinning her car against the pump island. The doors opened, and Deputy Travis stepped out, accompanied by his partner. Maya had done nothing but stand quietly, with her hands visible. She was wearing a dark windbreaker and jeans. Travis approached with his hand resting casually on his duty belt. He did not greet her as a sister. Instead, he loudly announced to the gathered onlookers, 2 teenagers by the convenience store door and a truck driver at the adjacent pump, that Maya matched the description of a suspect involved in a recent string of neighborhood thefts. Travis ordered her to turn around and place her hands on the cold metal of the vehicle. His partner unclipped his radio, grinning. Travis patted her down roughly, mocking her clothing and asking if she had finally resorted to stealing to support herself in the city. The truck driver watched in uncomfortable silence. The teenagers pulled out their phones. Maya's response was brief and entirely controlled. She absorbed the humiliation without raising her voice. She did not reveal her badge. She did not argue. She simply looked at Travis, the rain catching in her eyelashes, and quietly said, "Are you finished, deputy?" Travis sneered, telling her she was free to go, but that she should watch her back in his town. Maya calmly re-entered her vehicle and drove away. If you have ever had to quietly gather your strength while those closest to you underestimated your resolve, please share your experience in the comments below. We read every one. Maya did not react with immediate anger. She prepared. The very next morning, she walked into the regional FBI field office in the city. The ambient hum of fluorescent lights and the smell of fresh coffee grounded her as she approached her supervising agent's desk. The gas station incident was the final piece of character evidence she needed, but her real work had been quietly building for months. Years prior, Grandpa Henry had given Maya a weathered, leather-bound ledger. He had found it in Arthur's home office and suspected financial mismanagement within the precinct, but lacked the technological resources to prove it. This ledger was the hidden resource Maya had meticulously verified. Over the course of the next 15 days, Maya consulted with forensic accountants, federal prosecutors, and the Bureau's internal corruption unit. She cross-referenced the handwritten notes in Grandpa Henry's ledger with offshore bank accounts, municipal budget records, and shell companies linked directly to Arthur and Travis. Her competence was absolute. She organized the documentation into categorized, color-coded files. She rehearsed her timeline. She ensured every subpoena was ironclad and every warrant was signed by a federal judge. The total sum of embezzled funds amounted to nearly $4 million USD. There was only one moment of doubt. At 2:00 a.m., on a restless Thursday, Maya sat in her apartment living room, the glow of her laptop illuminating the dark space. She held her mother's phone number on the screen. She thought about the impending collapse of her mother's comfortable life. Her finger hovered over the call button. But she remembered the cold metal of the gas pump and the silence of the witnesses. She closed the laptop. The preparation was complete. The stage was perfectly set. What do you think happened next? Did she make the right call in waiting for this precise moment? The structural climax arrived exactly 1 month later, on December 15th, at the town's annual Police Benevolent Association Gala. The event was held in the grand ballroom of the local country club. The room was draped in white silk, and the tables were set with crystal centerpieces. Over 200 guests were in attendance, including the mayor, city council members, local business owners, and the entire police department. Arthur stood at the podium at the front of the room, adjusting the microphone. He was wearing his formal dress uniform, his chest adorned with medals. He began a sweeping toast about integrity, family legacy, and the unbreakable bond of law enforcement. The heavy oak doors at the back of the ballroom opened with a resonant thud. The room fell entirely silent. Maya walked in. She was flanked by 6 federal agents in full tactical gear, though Maya herself wore a sharply tailored navy suit. Her expression was calm, her steps measured. She walked straight down the center aisle. The only sound was the clicking of her heels against the polished hardwood floor. Arthur's face turned an ashen white. Travis, sitting at the head table, dropped his crystal water glass. It shattered against the table, the water spilling over the pristine white tablecloth. "Maya, what is the meaning of this?" Arthur demanded, though his voice cracked over the sound system. Maya reached the podium. She did not shout. She did not mock him. Her delivery was level and factual. "Chief Arthur Vance and Deputy Travis Vance," she said, her voice carrying clearly across the silent ballroom. "You are being placed under federal arrest for racketeering, embezzlement of municipal funds, and civil rights violations under color of law." She placed the thick stack of signed federal warrants directly onto the podium, right over his speech notes. She named the specific shell companies. She cited the exact sum of $4 million USD. The verdict from the witnessing audience was immediate. The mayor stood up and quickly backed away from the head table. Several city council members followed suit, creating a physical distance between themselves and the disgraced officers. The room murmured in shock, shifting entirely away from Arthur's defense. Maya stood perfectly still, watching as her stepfather and stepbrother were handcuffed by her colleagues and led out of the side entrance. Over the following weeks and months, the consequences fell systematically upon the antagonists. Maya remained entirely passive during this phase. She did not grant interviews to the local papers, nor did she post on social media. She simply let the truth do its work. Arthur was immediately suspended without pay and forced to resign in disgrace. His municipal pension was frozen pending the federal trial, leaving him entirely reliant on his shrinking savings. Travis was permanently stripped of his badge. The local businesses that had previously offered them preferential treatment quickly distanced themselves, removing their photographs from diner walls and revoking their country club memberships. Within 6 months, the family home, purchased largely with the diverted precinct funds, was foreclosed upon by the federal government. Maya's mother, unwilling to face the public humiliation, quietly filed for divorce and relocated to a small apartment 2 states away. The gossip network, which had once insulated Arthur and Travis, completely reversed course, leaving them isolated and facing severe federal prison sentences. Maya's new life was quiet and deeply grounded. It was a crisp Sunday afternoon in early spring. Maya sat at the worn wooden dining table in Grandpa Henry's kitchen. The room smelled of roasting chicken and fresh rosemary. Sunlight poured through the sheer curtains, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. She was not alone. Across from her sat Grandpa Henry, carefully pouring a glass of iced tea. Next to him was Maya's supervising agent, who had become a trusted mentor and chosen family over the past 2 years. The chairs were mismatched, the china was plain, but the warmth in the room was palpable. Grandpa Henry raised his glass. His hands trembled slightly with age, but his eyes were clear. He didn't mention Arthur or Travis. He simply looked at Maya and said, "To the truth, and those who carry it." Maya smiled, a genuine expression of peace, and clinked her glass against his. The sound of a lawnmower hummed pleasantly in the distance. The antagonists were gone. Her true family remained. If you are watching this and you recognize yourself in this story, please know that you are not alone. Family is not always defined by proximity, and authority is not always defined by a badge. You are allowed to quietly observe the truth, even when others demand you believe a lie. You are allowed to build your strength in secret. You are allowed to step away from tables where you are no longer respected. Setting boundaries is not an act of revenge. It is an act of survival. The truth does not expire, and apologies that come only after the consequences arrive are not apologies at all. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. Remember to protect your peace, trust your instincts, and cherish the family that chooses to show up for you. We will see you in the next story.